Hello everyone and welcome back to Factorio. Let's click resume and get right back into it. Now last time we left off, we were in the process of building a massive science setup here on Novice. And I mean, hopefully this actually works. So, the one thing which I happen to notice now is we need to connect these underground belts across to get around the drone ports, which we're probably gonna have to do that a couple other places as well. Just get you through there, and the same a couple more times, and then that will be that. So we are a lot of belts short of actually finishing this setup, but I think other than that, the belting is mostly designed and placed properly, aside from this issue that I'm fixing now, and there's probably some other sorts of problems that we haven't discovered yet. But okay, so that's all in, and now theoretically all we need to do is just add in train tracks to feed all the types of science into this massive blob. And then that will be that. Looks like we have all the underground belts. We're just waiting on the regular sized belts. So Vulcanist support is apparently not carrying any. Okay, these are all on their way back from dropping off at Novice. So that'll be a couple hundred each. And then Vulcanist fast. This is still in the process of being built. Also, I don't think I actually finished adding the back half of this on. So let's make sure to copy paste that again. Go down to here. Get all that stuff placed in. And now we just need to get some... I mean, the fusion power is like the main thing that we're missing, right? So we can get all that set up. And I guess the ammunition for the gun turrets will be beneficial, though not necessary to launch. Okay. No, I see. We don't have a couple of solar panels launched, so we need those solar panels just so that this can start and deposit this stuff out. So, like, we need these inserters to be able to function, even if extremely slowly. And those solar panels should get us there at some point. I mean, it might take a minute. But as soon as we get just a little bit through, then that should be all set up. We are going to have to wait for all the rest of this. Alright, there we go. So we have fusion through. We have fluoroketone through. So that will cool down. And once that cooling phase finishes, then these reactors will start producing power. And then this will be up and running. So we are done now. So now we have this low input fuel, but it's going now, and we should be all set up. So there we go. Getting a couple more launches done here. Thank goodness this is mostly using blue belts and not green, otherwise we'd be in a massive problem. Alright, so then that's set up and ready to go. And all this stuff is slowly starting to come online as well. Just need a couple more belts and machines and stuff. And obviously the thrusters and everything. And we are starting to fill this up with a first wave of ammo, which will let us get moving faster than we normally would. And this obviously has like a bunch of extra stuff like railguns and rockets, which aren't really going to be doing anything if this particular ship is just going to be traveling from Novice to Vulcanus and back. But it shouldn't be a huge deal to have a little bit extra. Oh, we are apparently missing 9 turbo transport belts, which are in here for no obvious reason. Can I just... One assumes that that was not intentional, because it doesn't do anything, right? Like, they're connected in all sides by express belts. So we can just downgrade those so that we don't have to use the fancy stuff. And then this should be all starting, actually. Like, we can even see the ammunition coming out. Now the rockets are turning on as well. And this is... How far is this? So the ammunition hasn't quite reached the end of the line down here, which means that we are still a ways off from this being good to launch. But now it has, so we should be quite close. Okay, so we've done that. And again, we just want this space platform to be a much faster way of connecting between Vulcanus and Novice, because the turbo transport belts, we're going to need a lot of them. We're going to continue to need a lot of them for the foreseeable future. So having a faster way of doing that will be much appreciated. Alright, so that is still just all going through. This doesn't have like super high quality modules or anything, which is good because we are still 29 legendary productivity modules short, although I think that dropped by like 11 just now. Could have sworn we were at 40 some just last time I checked a couple seconds ago. So that's good. Alright, the ammo is mostly set up. In fact, that's got to be enough for this to be a-okay now. Alright, so instead of going between Novice and Flagora like it's currently set, you go between Novice and Vulcanus. And you are going to wait for a little bit of time on either side. And now you can go automatic mode, which isn't going to do much until some asteroids make their way down here to the bottom, which they are doing, just slowly. So we need, like, we have iron, but we need, like, calcite and ice cubes. So we need ice to get down here, which should happen eventually. It's just sort of a waiting game until that happens. In the meantime, let's pop back over to Novice. How is this all shaping up? We're down to 28 productivity modules missing. And ideally, we would let that recover and then build up a bit extra because we are going to need tons of them. So is this just working properly? Like, is there anything at all that we can do here to speed this up aside from just adding more, which would be a bit of a task, because like at this point we are very much stretching what our recycling can handle here. Yeah, I don't think that's an option. So let's go about adding more then, which again is a massive freaking nuisance, but it has to be done, so it has to be done. So we start by dismantling that, I think. And we want to just copy paste another one of these rows over. And hopefully that will be all that we need to do. I feel like last time we did some of this copy paste type stuff, it didn't go tremendously well. Okay, let's actually get a buffer chest in. And this buffer chest is going to request blue underground belts, blue regular belts, blue express splitters, and we also want it to have like some requester chests for the bioflux. And it looks like those are being fed by fast inserters for some reason. And then we also want some stack inserters. So we just want all those things that we need to do to build this. We want all of them to show up preemptively instead of having to wait. So let's also get lasers in. And then obviously the biter spawners will show up over time. So let's also get the power poles. So all of those things, which should be everything except the biter spawners themselves, which are made to order basically. Everything except those and some of this extraneous stuff over here, which hopefully is optional, should all be delivered to this buffer chest. So then we can build our copy paste out quite easily. And that should give us more biter eggs when we need them. And then we're going to have to worry about getting them out onto the belts and then getting them out through this recycling setup up here. Which hopefully won't be an issue. Oh, I just realized these need to be output priority left so that biter eggs don't go here, which causes them to just sit there forever and then eventually just pop. So we need that to happen. Then we're going to need to get more recyclers in order to deal with all this. So if we just copy paste this row here, just something like that, and you can just output like that, and I guess we just hope blue belts are enough for everything here. So that, actually we want to point this way. And it then recycles back. Let's have it go like over there and then this way so that it can recycle back into itself. Like this somehow. Output priority right. And then that connects across. So now we put the new input belt up here. And that should get this entire area active as a new supply. Okay, so now all the rest of this stuff is going. And this is actually another one of those things where we need to set the output priority so that we don't have things popping there. Shout out to that laser turret for taking damage, so that I knew that that was happening. Okay, now we will... Okay, if we just take this up and we attach it into one of these belts, then that should be fine, hopefully. So let's just copy paste this entire blob and just pop it right next to the original, just somewhere in there, like have the walls kind of line up a little bit. So that gets built in, and that is going to take a while and a bunch of spawners, but it should get there eventually. Okay, and it looks like... No, okay. It looks like that was... The number of missing belts dropped rapidly, but that was just because all the roboports were like doing assigning stuff, and they hadn't quite realized that that was an issue yet. So we're back to basically the same thing that we were previously, except now we also have a bunch of biter spawners missing. So now all of this is going to get built up, and we have our nice box here, which should hopefully get most of this done a little bit faster. Okay, so now let's look down at Vulcanus fast. You are still waiting on a single ice cube to get down to the bottom there, which is a bit of a nuisance. Come on, we just need a little bit, and then it'll be good to go. And you need to be assigned like the same sort of thing as Vulcanus support, basically, I think. So if we just have you, and we could just call this, I already have something called Vulcanus requests. I wonder where that group wound up. It could be anywhere, honestly. It's going to be like one of these sort of generic named platforms. Probably. No, alright, I have no idea. Well, let's just get it assigned this group here from Vulcanus support. So this is Vulcanus support. And now we can go here and add that in. Alright, so now you have all that. These should get requested. And it's currently trying to get away from Novice, which is why it isn't doing anything interesting with that. Like, it's not picking those things up at all. So all of our ice cubes seem to be getting lost somehow. Like, we should be picking up a reasonable quantity of them. And we just need, like, one. So is there some error here? I know that this is dropping out a fair amount of calcite. So... okay, wait, I think I see. So this is set up to send out... what is this doing? Okay, so if anything is greater than 50, that it sets output side to the right. Alright, let's disable that temporarily, say output priority right, and just to get it booted up a little bit, and then we will go back in a minute, of course. So that should get us our oxide asteroids down to here, which should get us our calcite and our ice cubes to get all this stuff running. It looks like that first batch didn't give us anything because that's just doing ice cubes. Well, that should fill up eventually, right? So we have water produced now. We have water produced. We have more ice cubes going out. This one just got a grab, which means that we now have some of this stuff running, which means the engines can start, and those are going to accelerate us a little bit. Eventually that ice cube that we were circulating there is going to, the calcite's eventually going to run out probably, and then we'll stop. But for now we are starting, which means we should be triggering more asteroids and hopefully getting to a stable point. So there we go. that is all running. We have way more of these guys in now. And hopefully that keeps us going. Okay, so fuel is dropping rapidly. It's dropping rapidly, but it's almost... We're so close to being stable. Okay, we just got a little bit more calcite in, which means that we are doing things now. Yeah, there's officially like kind of decent amount of stuff in there. So this is the asteroid input that we want to see, right? That is a good stable quantity. And we're just going to keep it like this for a little bit longer, and then going to go back up to that splitter above and set it back to normal. So we are like most of the way to Vulcanus, so this should be properly set up. Like, we just need a little bit more calcite for this to all stabilize. And, okay, now we have enough asteroids in there that I think this is probably fine. So you can go back to doing that. And yeah, so like this is fully blocked up. We're outputting various asteroids in this section, which means that it is now time to be filling up the ammo production section. And you are set up. Alright, so yeah, now this is all good, right? So now this also has enough stuff. This has enough stuff. We are all good to go at this point. So the thrusters have temporarily turned off while we're stopped at Vulcanus. And that should get us all set up. Now, how many turbo transport belts can we even grab? We have a couple hundred on each of these. And you're also picking up a bunch of calcite and other stuff. Okay, this should be fine, right? Like, we have our ammo supply going. The rockets are slowly getting there as well, which would be helpful if we sent this thing to have other directions that we wanted to send it to. Okay, now I've just realized that actually I am dumb and wasn't paying attention. So, we need all of this stuff to get built up and finished, because some of these guys have biter spawners. And if some of them have biter spawners, that means that we need to connect this entire thing up. So you go over there, all the way over there, connect in that way. Okay, no, we need you to be an express splitter because we actually have those like right in this exact vicinity. So that is in, which means that this is all working. You are set to your output priority, and there's laser turrets that have coverage over that, so it should be fine. Then we need to get this belt downgraded so that you can send all of your biter eggs out and not explode. So you have bioflux. You have bioflux. It is gonna be honestly kind of close whether these guys die before it gets around to them. But it should be fine. Yeah, probably fine. So they just need to get a little bit, and then they'll be all good. Or not, apparently. Apparently our delivery here is... I hit escape like 5 times too many. Okay, so that first wave of bioflux was actually pretty short, which means that these are now definitely going to pop. Like, even if this made it around even if this made it around uncontested, like, it's all going to get grabbed first. Okay. So that pops, and it's just these two, which I guess must have been built like way earlier than the rest. Now this one down here has full circulation going, which should be fine now. Of course, that one popped just in time. And now you have Bioflux just sitting and waiting, so that is all good. This is set up. And, okay, so this should be, like, mostly full stacked. I forgot that I did this in a kind of dumb way in terms of how the stack inserters work, but it should be fine. So let's just run a second belt along, and we're apparently going to need to reorganize it a little bit just to work properly. So this belt comes around this way and goes up to there. Doesn't do that. And then it comes all the way over here and then up through this, and apparently needs to be slightly different. So we need you to go like out there, and that going in there should be fine. So now this can connect up, hopefully. Apparently it doesn't see it. Apparently it doesn't see it. Alright, so we need this belt then to go out. And we need you to cut under like there. And be a regular one that we can afford. Okay, so then we have this just come down this way and into there and be input priorityed. And then all of this can be regular belts. And then this finally connects up to that. Okay, so most of our belts have arrived now. Our Vulcanist supports have all stopped by. And they've all dropped off their supplies. There's nothing left in any of these. So that's fine. So Vulcanist Fast now stopped at Vulcanist for 45 seconds. It has 400 turbo transport belts. Let's move that up to a full 1,000, just because we have the storage capacity for it on that platform, so we might as well. Okay, so now we have this. And is that like... No, that's not like the world's tiniest gap. It is just something that hasn't been filled in yet. Alright, so now that belt goes. And I just realized we did not put... Oh wait, no, we did. I don't know why I thought these didn't have quality modules in them, but they definitely do. So that is fine. Why is this the way that it is? I guess this technically works. If, well, it would work if we had that connected across. So this theoretically works properly, right? It's just really weird and dumb and really inefficient, actually. Okay, so let's let this go for a bit, just because some of these ones near the front will have been waiting for a while. So we can let that go for a bit. And this is not enough to handle the massive wave. It should theoretically be enough in general. So we have all that. Then let's remove the fresh input so that this does not have stuff on it while we go to repair it. And we can just we can just shove you into there and temporarily and hope that that'll be okay. It'll be better than just having them sit on the belt doing nothing, at least. Okay. So now we just need to... What we actually need is a... Well, no, we can do that later once this is all redesigned. So this belt here goes up this way and across that entire row, which then loops around this way, and then it all connects up in a splitter. And then that splitter will be output. Actually, we can just do this in one splitter, right? So you can do the legendary filtering, and also the input priority from that side. And then this, the easiest way is to just take the legendaries down into that. There's not going to be so many of them that it breaks the throughput speed of the old setup, and then they'll all be in one spot, which will be quite helpful. Alright, so we have that. Now we just... yeah, so now this should be fine. We redirect you back up this way, and this all can go in. So we have that now, and now things are much more efficient in terms of the belt speed usage. We do still have the occasional biter popping, but that's what the laser coverage is for, so it'll be fine. Let's get, speaking of laser coverage, let's just get a couple of those up around that area just in case. It should never be a problem, but you never know. Can't be 100% confident with these sorts of things, so let's just get that fixed up. So the way this is currently added up is that this is sort of an excess overflow belt from this, which is going to be completely filled all the time, which should be fine. There shouldn't be any serious issues with designing it like that, but it is a little bit weird. Okay, so this is all barely going, and that is probably partially just belt speed limited. Okay, we probably should be working to get these guys stacked up better, but it's really tricky with them because you can't do just box buffers, because then you'll have hundreds of biter eggs just sitting around doing nothing, which is not a good way of designing that. Alright, so this all looks fine, and we actually seem to have filled up all the productivity modules that we needed for the science labs, although we apparently have 0 to spare. I think that's just because they're getting buffer chested down here somewhere. Right? Like this buffer chest here, and you have 11 productivity modules with 2 more on the way. Yes. So that is indeed what's happening. And there's probably also other buffer chests in various other places that I don't even know about, because that's just how that works. So we are 500 green belts out from having this filled up. And realistically, most of these don't even need to be green belts. This section down here does, but then it quickly splits off, right? Because each of these is being fed by a single bulk inserter. So I guess let's see, if we just swap up to express transport belts for like all of these, that should be fine, right? And if that becomes an issue later, then by that point we will have enough green belts that we can just do the upgrades without breaking anything. So let's just get all of those set up. And I mean, we don't have to do all of it, right? So if we just do like these first 2 waves, then that should just free up enough green belts for this to be all set up. And that's before we even mention the incoming deposits of green belts from space, which should get us just fully covered and dealt with. Okay, that's probably plenty of that. So now we are not missing any green belts. This is going to look a bit weird, and I'll probably want to re-upgrade these at some point, but that is fine. Because, like, half of these belts are going to be slower than the other half. But, again, it shouldn't really make a difference unless things go really weird. Okay, so, with that done, now all of this stuff down here is getting built up, and we should have this setup more or less finished. So now we just need to get the science in, which is going to require 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 different trains, each of which is going to be carrying 240 items per second. We're going to need a lot of space for that. So let's try to just build that sort of... So up here is where we might need to expand things, depending on like how fast these biolab rows are. Which I don't know. So we want to leave that space open. We can put them down here, I guess, or over here. I guess over here would probably be the cleanest. Okay, so if we just head over to one of these guys, and preferably one of the ones that doesn't have random unrelated belts going past it, like this coal one here. So if we grab all of this, like, out to where the chests connect up. So like that. We grab that. That should be all that we need. And then we go down to this area. And we are going to just paste that in. And we're going to need a couple of these, as mentioned. We're going to need 12 of them total. So let's get them in like this. That's 3. We're also going to need drone coverage in this region, of course. So let's get that coming down. There we go. That is 1 drone port in. Then let's get another one like over there maybe. Actually, we can go all the way out to there, which will be a little bit more space efficient, I think. And hopefully that covers enough. I don't know if it'll reach all the way down here for these requester chests near the bottom, but that's what we're going to be finding out in a bit. Let's get the Spidertron down here so that it can help a little bit. Get some of that done real fast. Okay, Novice. Where is that damage coming? It's all the way over here. I could have sworn that this was set up to just... Okay, you know what? We can just have you run around the clock no matter what. I don't think that this area really needs any help anymore. Like, we have so many biter eggs elsewhere that we should be fine without this section here. So let's just get that set up. And while that's been happening, Spidertron is now in the area. It can run over and build some of this stuff. We are back up to being a lot of items short, but that should eventually resolve itself. So we need those power poles across there to connect everything up. And then we need some power poles across there to connect these different rows across, although they actually were connected down below. So it doesn't really matter. We can have them connected on both sides, that's fine. We just need these power poles in particular to come across so that this Roboport can get cleared. And then it does look like we are going to need a Roboport down there to catch the requester chests. So we're going to get this group of 3, and then we're just going to copy paste this a couple times, and then we'll have 12. So let's just get this all built up and make sure that like nothing weird has happened with it. Actually, let's think. We need the inputs to go up there, but that should be fine, right? We should have space for that. We've got laser weapon damage increase. We love to see it. Let's make asteroids more productive. That's always a useful thing to have. Of course, these couple of power poles have been taking forever, which is annoying because they're kind of the linchpin of this entire setup. There they go. So now these drone ports are charging. And there we go. You are now up and running. Now you're saying low power, so that's just an excuse to check the power grid. It's actually a little bit closer than it has been in the past. So we might want to do some power grid upgrades at some point soon. But it shouldn't be a huge issue either way. Okay, so this is all set up. And it should be ready to copy paste. Although, actually, how much space up here are we going to have? Because, like, we have this turnaround here, which is going to limit that a little bit. So we can go up to, if we have this, if we have that rail, which is the input side, across that way, then this can connect up to there like that. And that's going to be sort of the most... Actually, we can get it a little bit better if we just place it absolutely perfectly. So let's take that one out and rearrange it so that you go in that perfect manner, which is something like that. Okay, so we get that all built up. How many train signals is that? So we have this one, and then the next one is up there, right? And that's it? Okay, that's probably not good enough. We probably need to shove this entire thing down just like a little bit, because we need to have the trains sitting in here lining up so that we can have multiple train slots available in these stations. Otherwise, things could get very complicated. Also, how is Gleba doing? Like, Gleba support on its way here. It's got 3k bioflux. Is that good enough? Like, how is this going on the bioflux input? So these ones, they all have lots of bioflux in the loop, but no bioflux available for the chests. And then this one down here does have some. Okay, so let's just crank that up from 3K to like 5K. Just hopefully that will ensure that that's not an issue, as long as we have plenty of bioflux, which we should, hopefully. Got this passive provider chest full of it, which is constantly spoiling. So maybe we want actually another one, just because we only want like the freshest bioflux possible so that it lasts as long as we can get it to. So having 2 boxes should increase the supply of actually fresh stuff that we have. Hopefully that works out. I do not want all of these guys to be exploding because of the lack of bioflux. That would be quite bad. Okay, so back down to here. Oh, the reason I was interested in looking at Glebo was because we are low on stack inserters, but we have 400 on their way. So that's not going to be an issue as long as this has been set up to actually request those. Where is this? You are set up to request 200 stack inserters. Let's just pump that up to 400, just because that's how many are being delivered anyways. So that's all set up. Now we will go down to here, and we are going to cut this, paste it just a decent amount further down, but nothing completely insane. So that gets pasted down there. We are going to need another drone port to sort of cover the gap. And that power pole is like in the worst possible place. It's going to have to be removed in a minute. For now, let's get Spidertron to place that in. And then we can get the Spidertron to place some more of those power poles in. So now this entire area is set up. Let's get that power pole replaced so we can do that. And now we have the ability to run this train line up. So those can now just connect all the way up to the top, like that. And apparently it runs through a tiny gap, which we're going to want to fix. Just let's get solid train, and let's get solid drone coverage just sort of everywhere, just so that we don't have to rely on the Spidertron to build stuff. Alright, so that all goes in, and that should have us set up a little bit better. So now let's get our signals back in, and we should be able to fit tons in here. So we have that one, which hasn't been built yet, so we can't look at it, but we can look at this one, which is the same. So you go all the way up to like there, and then you go all the way up to just past that tree up there. It's annoying that it goes away if you try to look at it. And then you go all the way up to this little speck of dirt there. And then that's it. Okay, so if we just run our signals along in those places, then we should be all good to go. Actually, wait. Okay, no, it's that was one of the previous signals, which is just too far up. So we can remove that and continue looking along here. Okay, yeah, it's hard to see where the signals are sometimes when they haven't been placed, because they don't look like they're correctly splitting the blocks area, but you just have to actually look for them. So that's all in. This stuff is getting built. And now, hopefully that'll be everything. And let's actually just run this power pole just like a little bit over there, because when we copy paste this, it'll be just a little bit more convenient if those are pre-connected. Okay, and then we want probably like 1 block worth down this way. So like what we want is, this is going to take a while because we're going to have to wait for the tracks to get built up. But we want to be able to have the trains immediately leave the station so that the next one can show up. Even if there's some sort of traffic out here and it's delayed for a second, we only need 1 probably. And hopefully even that will be very infrequently actually useful. But it is something which we're going to want to have. So let's get that in, get a random crossbar over there. And now these just connect up. Like that, like that, like that. Okay. So that should be that. Now we just need to get the actual signal in, which can go there, there, and there, presumably. Yes. Okay. So that is this entire sort of blob of stations set up properly. Now, we copy-paste just this entire thing, and now we need to get it placed across. So the next one goes there, and then there, and then we're going to have to wait a little bit for the last paste because we cannot see the region we're pasting into. We don't know where we put the blueprints, so let's get the Spidertron over. So Spidertron's going to get over here, just randomly assign some of this stuff, but more importantly, it's going to let us get that pasted in. And now this should be all functional, like these should connect across properly, and the power grid up here should... Okay, no, the power grid up here doesn't. We need just like a couple missing power poles in here that didn't quite make it. But that should be done on that side. So now we just have to wait for this. And it's going to be a minute. There's a lot of construction to do. But we should get there eventually. And so yeah, a lot of this stuff is missing construction bots. That's just all the guys that are down here by where the Spidertron is trying to be helpful. So Spidertron can run along and like help with this to some extent. It's not going to be able to do much, but it can get some stuff placed, and then it just needs to sort of go back and stand in the power grid and just be normal. Okay, so now the Spidertron is just standing within the drone grid to get all of its stuff delivered, and then we need to wait for mostly just these random power poles to get connected across. Okay, so that power pole actually connects this entire region up, I think. So now most of this is covered. Not entirely, we're still missing a couple crucial roboports, but it's mostly covered. Oh, apparently not. Apparently these roboports actually didn't have power. So it's going to be more waiting still. But this connection down at the bottom line means that power shouldn't be an issue. And we just have to wait for all this construction to be done. I guess this is a good news for my goal of not using all of our productivity modules instantly. Do we have any spare productivity modules over here? No, but we probably have spare productivity modules in the drone system in general, right? So that should be fine. Let's actually track down this buffer chest of ours. So we have 43 productivity modules there and 74 total. I don't know where the other 30 are, but It's actually quite a solid amount. So not looking bad at all. It's actually looking quite solid. Okay, so this all gets built up. Vulcan is fast. You're just doing your job properly, right? No serious issues. You got plenty of supply. You've got more belts and everything. Alright, so now it's the stack inserters are having issues again, because, of course, all of this stuff uses enormous quantities of stack inserters to be able to unload relatively quickly. We're somehow managed to wind up like 20... Okay, no, those 20 turbo belts vanished, so that was just an illusion. So it's going to be a couple trips of Gleba support, because this carries 400 at a time. It's going to be a couple trips of that before we have the stack inserters, but that is fine. We don't really need to worry too much about that. So now what we need to do is we need to get the belts from all of this up into this grid up here. And I believe that's just like each of these goes into one. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, so we need to get all of these guys combined up into one blob of 12 going up this way, probably. So, let's see, that's going to look like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That power pole is probably important. Okay, let's work that power pole around a little bit, just for now. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so like this is basically what we're looking at, right? And that one is going to need to... These power poles are just going to be in the way, probably. Let's see. If we just move the entire row of power poles just over this way a little bit, then that would more or less solve our problem. And then once this gets built, these can be removed, and then it should be fine. Okay, we're still 520 stack inserters short, and 36 biter nests, which is probably fine. In the meantime, looks like everything except the stack inserters has been sorted out at this point. So that's cool. So now we need to bring all of these belts up. So first of all, we need another row of mergers in here, so that all of these, which are currently outputting to two sides of things, can output just down to one. And then we get you in, you go forwards one, and then in. And let's just copy paste this entire blob and just get that across everywhere so that we're only dealing with one belt per item. Oh, there's just a tree there. Sure. All right, so this all gets set up. Of course, you need to hold shift to remove trees, despite the fact that there's no situation where you would care about removing a tree. Okay, so that's all set up. Now we need to just bring these forwards. Right, so this goes forwards like that. And then I guess we just bring them over all in one group and then up. So let's just bring this forward like past this little lake thing. And then from here you go over. And then you go up and into this belt up here. Alright, so that is sort of our blueprint for what we're doing here. Just need to get all the rest of these belts to line up like that, and then it'll be good to go. So we bring this one up, one past, and then it takes a little bit narrower trip. Looks like we got a bunch of our stack inserters delivered. That request is down to 300 some instead of the 500 some that it was a minute ago. Alright, this went up one too high. And I guess we can actually just straight up leave that there because... Okay, we can actually just sort of do a bunch of this just in advance, right? So like each of these is going to need to go in like this. That's a given. Hopefully this drone port doesn't wind up being in the way for some of the later ones. That goes up. And that goes up. And then we're sort of past where the drone port would be in the way. So now we can just get them all in. And a couple more in that corner will be done. Okay, so we have all that. Now that's all in. We need to just run these belts back over here. And we'll just bring them all out to this extent for now. And then a little bit, we'll just sort of keep pressing this backwards. So that goes in, and you go back. Placing belts in this game is very satisfying, just sort of sliding along. Alright, so these are all something like that. Okay, so now each of these belts here needs to go up this way. And we're just gonna get that sorted out so we don't have to look all the way down in that clutter for the next couple steps. Just sort of do things one step at a time until it's all nice and simple. Okay, so that should be that. Now, all of those should be in view, so we can just bring these back until they reach their designated spot. So you go back to there, etc. We just keep on putting these in, and I think we've run out of belts again. Yeah, we definitely have. There's nothing that we can do about that here, because these do just actually need to be turbo belts. They should show up eventually. Alright, now we hope that I counted right. So that is the second to last one, and this is the last one. And that is correct. Very cool. Okay, so now we just get these last couple corners in. And I can't get these facing the right way for the life of me. Alright, so these corners go in. And... oh, what have I done? That's not right. So the corners all go in, and... alright, so now that connects up, and then twists around. And now we just need to get these guys in this last bit here. So each of these just goes into one of these little pointy out bits there. And there we go. So these guys can just go underneath the RoboPort as usual. And there we go. Just a couple more. so this one needs to go underneath a lot of stuff because it's sort of just in the line of all that nonsense. But then we get around it, all of these go in, and one more. Alright, so that is that. That random explosion was somewhere else, I don't care about it. So now we are 783 turbo belts short. So, Fulgora fast is... No, that's not the one we want. Vulcan is fast. So you are currently waiting above Novice. You do not have your 1000 turbo transport belts. How is the production of those going, by the way? Just want to make sure we're not asking for something which we are not producing at a reasonable rate. We have 500 some. And it's being limited by gears, looks like. Okay, so we need to get... Maybe it's actually just being limited by... Well, let's just start by making sure that all of these are getting the gears fast enough. And I don't understand what's going on here. Those are going to be taking the inputs like that. Alright, so now let's just scroll over to our gear production and make that be a full belt, hopefully. So that is coming out of this foundry, which is just happily chugging away at full speed. So what I want is we will legendary quality you and stack inserter. Right, so that stack inserter is now much more capable of outputting gears. So this is now 33 per second, and that's full. Okay, now let's make this even better. So you get legendary productivity modules, which takes it down a bunch. And then, did I ever get legendary beacons here? I did. So probably also, I definitely also have legendary speed modules here. So this is now going to go super fast once it can bother getting the speed modules over. Now this is a full stack inserter, and it's incredibly annoying with where exactly I put that, but we should just move you up a touch so that we can get more. So if we just do that, now this is 3 full stack inserters of gears, which I don't care how many gears this is using, that's going to be enough. It'll at least be enough to massively accelerate it, if nothing else. And we might also then want to upgrade the output belt just to squeeze a little bit extra. Though it looks like they're not entirely saturating it, although that's actually just because of weirdness. Okay, yeah, let's make this belt. I mean, this is the home of the turbo transport belts, so we're gonna have plenty of them just for this quick process. So this just goes all the way across, and then we have this incredibly cursed setup here, which I must have been so proud of myself for designing that. So it doesn't send the pipes through because of this. Ugh. Kind of horrific, but if it works, I guess. Okay, so now that is fine. Oh, and yeah, also just have this guy just like objectively ruining things by throwing in lower stacked items. Alright, now gears are fully saturated and not an issue anywhere anymore. So now it's actually the tungsten plates, which look like they are successfully backlogging, so it's just actually the fact that this machine can use up to 40 of those per second, which is absurd. But yeah, so that should be our turbo transport belts sorted out. And it looks like at some point they even arrived over on Novice, and this whole thing, these like massive rows like this, where it gets slowly thicker and then slowly narrower like that, is just very cool looking in my opinion. I love the aesthetics of it. Alright, aesthetics aside, we have this mostly set up. Whenever the Gleba support makes it back, you should have, yeah, you have plenty of those, so whenever you make it back, this will all be finished. So, our next steps are just going to be assigning these to the different science destinations and then actually getting all that hooked up. So, we need each of these to be a science port. Now, does it matter which one is which? It might matter for the agri-science, but I don't think it does. So technically this row out here might not work for agri-science, and I don't know what'll happen if we have spoilage, like, in here, actually. Like, if we have spoilage on the belts here, that might break things, because it might not pick it up into the biolab to then output it to the requester chest. Okay, so I think what we need to do is we need to make sure that the bioscience will be this row to the left, okay? So, that way, how much space do we have? We should have plenty of space for this, right? So we can have a guy there, which will be filtered to spoilage. And so that way, if any spoilage gets on the belt here, actually, we just need this to be like at the end of the row, probably. Let's see here. Yeah, I think at the end of the row would be the best spot. It's just kind of mildly annoying, but it's fine. So we will extend you up. You go there, you get a requester chest, and you can filter out spoilage. Okay, so this should be fine. We just tack this on, and then we need to work backwards and figure out which train stop this is to make sure that the agri-science goes there. And that should be all we need to do. Theoretically, this shouldn't be necessary because we theoretically won't have spoilage to worry about. But the way I solved the spoilage issue in my previous setup was that I just had it feeding from requester chests directly into the biolabs. And wait, these are requester chests, not passive provider chests. So I just had them feeding directly from the chests into the biolabs, and so they just wouldn't take it if it was spoilage, and then I had them set to not have trash in them, so whenever something spoiled in the box, it would just get sent out to whatever spoilage burner or whatever I had. But here it's going to be different because we have things going on belts first. Alright, so that all goes in, and then we need a power pole, which theoretically there would be a power pole here anyways, right? Because that's just... wait, where exactly? Oh, just one to the right. Yeah, so theoretically this, if we added additional rows of biolabs to this, that would be where a power pole is no matter what. So we can just put all this stuff in. And we might need to do something weird. if we're adding the additional rows. But it should be fine, because these are all just above beacons and such, but like it might be in the way with this. So we might need to shift it ever so slightly in order to make it line up. But it should be possible, I think. I think it'll still be possible to grab all that stuff out without causing anything to explode. Now, hopefully this just never happens and we just don't have to worry about it. Alright, so this is our supply. So it's this top row here, right, which is going to get merged in with one other thing. So it's going to be one of these two, which is the furthest one out to the side. Alright, so you are going to be agri-science destination, right? So we go agri-science destination, and then we can work on the train limits and stuff later. Okay, so with that out of the way, now we can run back to this one and just go down the line, right? So you will be red science destination. You will be whatever the next one is. Green science. And apparently camel case is how we're doing this now. Sure, I just sort of instinctively started doing that, and we're just going to stick with it because might as well. So this is black science destination. I probably called it military science elsewhere. No, I called it black science source elsewhere. Cool. Okay. So that was the one we just did. Now we go over here. And you are blue science. It's funny how, like, in different games, they all have the same sort of, like, color-coded science thing, but the colors are all slightly different. Like in Dyson Sphere Program, blue science is the easiest type, and here it's, like, sort of midway through. Purple science destination. And we just keep going. So this next one is yellow science destination. And we just keep on going until we're done. So this is white science destination. And now we are into the fancy types. So this is going to be metallurgic science. Let's just call that metal science destination as an abbreviation. So then this, if we were going in order, would be agri-science, but we're skipping it. So this is electro science destination. And I think just two more, right? So this is cryoscience destination. And then finally we have the probably not going to be used for quite a while, Promethium science destination. Alright, so those are all set up and ready to go. So now, our next step is going to be actually getting trains over these. So we can start with the ones we have, right? So red science, we need to... Okay, we actually need to just go up to our train loader area to get this going. So we get a train, get 1, 2, 3, 4 cars. And you... Oh, wait, there's not going to be a group for this. We need to make the groups. So you are red science. And you are oh, I haven't connected those up to actually be accessible yet. Whoops. Alright, so you go from red science source until full to red science destination until empty. And off you go. So you're just going to be filling up for now, but that's fine. And then we also have... What colors do I have? I think I have yellow. Let's actually just check. So we have yellow science source, red science source, and I could have sworn we had like purple science or military science or something. Did I just not set that up with the title? No, we do have black science source. Okay. Alright, so we have yellow science there, red science there, black science there, and I believe... Oh, we also have white science, but we haven't set up the train for it yet. Alright, so this train that we're making now... Oh boy, I've got myself extremely distracted, but it's yellow science source. So this is going to be the yellow science group. Like that. You go from yellow science source to yellow science destination source until full, destination until empty. And off you go. And now we get another one for the black science. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we will have to start working on getting the white science accessible. Alright, so this is black science. And you are going to go source until full cargo. And destination until empty cargo. Off you go. Okay, now we just need to connect these train lines up to the actual train network. Which, let's see here. We need to get a T intersection somewhere. And this defunct coal mine here can actually help us out with that. Let's just dismantle you. So that can all go out. And then if we just build a nice solid T intersection in this area, then that should be fine. And we can actually just slap this on without even having to like redo anything. So you just go in there. And then hopefully the signals all work. So that's an excess signal from before. All the rest of this stuff hopefully will just be fine as is. And now we have to bring these train tracks over. So, is this backwards? I think this is backwards, right? So this top one is where things go out. So it needs to connect up to this bottom one down here and vice versa. Okay, that's a bit annoying. So we are going to have to fix that with just some... We're just going to have to fix that by having the tracks go around each other. So this is going to go down to here probably. And then run over to that. And then we're going to need to cross that with some rail ramps. So we just go like that. And then this can go over there, up the ramp, across the top. And then once it's back on the other side, it can just come down and go all the way down this way, and then into that. All right. So now that that is getting built, let's see. Spidertron can come over to do the gaps. So that, all this stuff is not within drone port range, so we're just gonna have to do that. Oh, Spidertron doesn't have rail ramps, I don't think. So we are gonna have to move a drone port down to this general vicinity just for that. Let's make sure the Spidertron helps getting in and helps getting powered. Alright, so now that is set up. Now the only bit missing is this gap down there. So those rail ramps will get built. The trains are currently stuck because they can't get down here. So let's just finish off all of this. Okay. So everything has at least been designated to be built. Obviously some of this is still waiting. So now let's get just the occasional signal in. And we'll probably need to worry about getting these more optimized at some point in order to have... Oh wait, that's the wrong side for some of these. Some of these are connecting up onto the wrong side, and I don't know which. But we need to make sure that our trains are running the right way. So this side here needs to be going in and down, right? So that is this. Goes like that. And then we're going to run the second half in. So that should be that. And this side is going to be coming out this way. And then going up here. So we get these signals in. And this signal there was pointing the wrong way. And other than that, I think we were fully correct. Okay, so that should be all signaled up and ready to go. I don't know what... Okay, we're waiting on a couple of trees that are in the way up here. So Spidertron runs up there, gets all that cleared out, and now we should be good to go, right? There should now be a path. Yes, there is now a path. And did I somehow... Yes, I did manage to disconnect all of this stuff from both the power grid and the drone grid. So let's get power poles running up that way. And the Spidertron's going to have to run over here to bail this stuff out, because a lot of it is not within drone range. Alright, so then we're going to need to get a drone port or two strategically placed. Alright, so now that's in. We get a drone port there, and a drone port there. And now that region should be reconnected. At least... Yeah, so now that's reconnected. All these guys down here are good to go. Okay, so we're all fine again. That sort of thing happening is quite the nuisance. Also, it looks like we have a traffic jam of some sort in here. I don't know. It shouldn't be caused by that signal just sitting there and being dumb. Let's see here. So that is a chain signal, as it should be. But you can't go in there because this guy got allowed into this area. I'm not sure why you got allowed into that, because... Oh, because there is a tiny little rail signal in there. Okay, so we take that out. We can drive drive you manually, remotely. Go forwards a little bit. And then back to normal. Okay, so now that is all cleared. And can we just... This is gonna be super annoying because it's gonna take 5 billion drones to cut all that stuff out, but I don't want to have just like a completely impossible to detect setup over there. Fortunately, we do have a lot of drones, so it should be manageable without completely breaking things. Yeah, it just takes half of our 15,000 construction drones that we have for some reason. So now this is all running, and we do have actually yellow science unloading into the system. And we have black and red science here as well. Actually, all managed to show up at right around the same time, which makes perfect sense, because that would be the time at which the what's it called? The time at which the traffic jam was stopped. They all should have been able to move through immediately. Alright, so these go. They are all winding up on half of a belt, and currently they're all winding up on different halves of belts. But it seems like it's working. So we are just filling these up, and I'm so dumb. Okay, we need to get the same spoilage filter onto all of these. So that is obviously not what we wanted to be doing. So this output over here is just for spoilage. And for some reason I made that requester chests again as well. So that's also an issue. So we just need to... Can I just copy paste this blob here and just click that in everywhere? So that should have these guys done with their nonsense that they're doing. And we also need to make those requester chests passive provider chests. So let's get those in as well. We go passive provider chests there, there, and there. And then we just need to hold down shift when we copy paste all that. Now, okay, we should be able to just do this in mass quantities by just like copy pasting ever increasing amounts of this. So that goes in, and now this gets sorted out, and that should be plenty for us to just copy paste this much. Right, so as long as we just keep doing this, and now we get the last couple in. So now those are all set to be passive provider chests, which should hopefully also just eventually get rid of all this science that we threw in. And in the meantime, these belts are just going to exist, and our locomotives cannot get out. Oh, I see, there's another tiny little gap over there that we're going to need to deal with. How is this going? All this extra coal is mostly gone now. So if we just get you down here, fix that blob up, the trains should be able to make their way back. And of course you're completely saturated by these guys. Alright, so we need you to charge up your bots and just get somewhere where we can get rid of all this stuff. Which is happening bit by bit. So we just had one drone carry some stuff away. And we need these trash slots to be cleared out. And your equipment grid is what it is. The fact that the Spidertron is currently malfunctioning when we need it to do stuff is super annoying. Let's just move a Roboport down there. So we just do that. And then all this stuff is just still going. That's gonna continue to be running for a while. But now that we have this Roboport in, or we almost do at least, it just has to charge up a little bit. It's funny, they all get 90% of the way there and then turn back. If you'd all just gone for it, you would have been fine. Okay, so now that's all in. This stuff has been designated, and it'll all work out. Okay, so now we just need Spidertron. It is getting some of this stuff slowly cleared out of its inventory with just random bots showing up to help. So hopefully that will be done soon. In the meantime, these trains have all figured out how to leave all around the same time. So now they are going to be running and delivering their science, and we'll probably need more than one each of those guys. Okay, and then the other thing that we want is we want the ability to bring these in via requester chests. So it doesn't have to be anything crazy, but if we just get requester chests in like each of these first spots, which I'm picking kind of arbitrarily, so then we'll be able to requester chest the science down here and just bring it in so that this can work, hopefully. It would be nice if we could set the settings on the requester chests that are being upgraded before having to wait for them. Alright, you actually have one singular free inventory slot, so that's good. Alright, so let's just get all of these set up. And they are going to request in the type of science that they're designated for. Obviously, Prometheum science is realistically never going to be doing anything with that, but whatever. Cryoscience and the others might. And they're going to be requesting just as much as we possibly can of each. So you will be electroscience. That comes down here. And then we need our Spidertron, or someone to come down here and do these upgrades so that we can get them sorted out. Which looks like it is going to take a while. Is this... No, this is just a row of guys coming to clear out the Spidertron. The requester chests. I wonder if they're having a harder time than usual getting down here at all, because of all the charging stuff being taken up by the coal. I don't know if that's a thing or not. Alright, so this is the first one we're waiting on. I could do this one, but then we're going to get all out of order and it's going to be terrible. So, let's... Okay, yeah, so now this one is in, and that's metallurgic science. And all these types of science are coming in from space. They're going to be in the network. So this is white science. So we get you into there. This one is yellow science. And you can go into there. And then this one is purple science. So we get that set up. Then we have blue science, and we're getting down to the first couple here. And we got black science, which for some reason I know is called military science, despite the fact that I don't know the names of any of the other ones. This one is green science. And then finally red science. Okay, so those are all theoretically set up now. And let's see, are they even working? So obviously those two are doing nothing. this one, I think we want to set these up to like the maximum possible number, just so that everything that could possibly be delivered is delivered. And we don't have drones just sitting around waiting, despite the fact that there's stuff for them to do. So we're just going to set all these numbers up to 20k, and like if we need more than 20k, then whatever. So this is in... Okay, yellow science actually we're going to not, because it actually has an intended way of getting here. But we're just going to get all the ones which don't are going to be the main thing for this. So black science, again, that has a correct way of getting here. Green science can do that. Okay, so that is all set up. And military science is loading up fast. Yellow science, less fast. Red science is going. Okay, let's actually look up here. Like, how is this going? Yellow science is going at most of its full speed, at least at the moment. That looks good. Red science is fully buffered. Is this red science down here also fully buffered? No, it's not. The train is not fast enough to keep up. That's unsurprising. It should be fast enough to keep up with the supplies of the other types of science which are coming along here now. Like, these guys are showing up. And that should be fine. So some of these guys are in absolute shambles. Like, what's up with production science? How do you only have 31 on the way? Chemical science has a bunch on the way. Green science is also in shambles. Okay, our science per minute has dropped off to basically 0 now. Probably because we're getting all this stuff set up at the moment. So this is the first belt which has multiple things on it, and it looks like it's working correctly. So that is hopefully good. I'm pretty sure I did this right, so that should be fine. And those are all just going to backlog a bunch. And they've currently got all this on them. Oh, we're picking stuff out of these boxes as necessary, which is quite beneficial for just getting all that nonsense out of the way. Okay, now, like, a lot of these guys are barely showing up, and I assume partially that's because they're going up here instead. Let's see, so all of these, theoretically, like, agri-science is the only one which might get wasted if we send it up to this. So let's cut agri-science from all of these. So those requester chests aren't bringing in agri-science, which means that this setup is now officially dead. And it looks like, speaking of dead, green science is having a weird day. Okay, no, it's just going. It's just going at the speed that it's always been going at, which is not especially fast. Okay. Well, that's fine. So all of this is going now. It all looks like it's working properly. And did I set this up? I never added the extra 0 onto here, which I should, just in case. Okay, every logistics bot in the factory is working. Presumably they're all working on this. So let's go up here to our logistics bot production. Can we make more? So which one's which? This is the construction bot. This is the logistics bots. So we turn you around like that. Now we should just completely be producing fresh logistics bots. And just in case there are any just sitting around somewhere. Yeah, there are 400 of those sitting around somewhere. And we will also set up to add legendary logistics bots in, which should be even better. Okay, so that should help. Now, the fact that our science is being logistic botted all the way down here is a serious issue in the long term, obviously. So white science is going, and it's going to be quite strong, because that's one of the ones which we have done. So white science is going to be the first one which we need to set up to actually, like, get transferred from the space platform delivery thing to a train, which might be a serious issue, or it might be fine. I don't know which one that is yet. We'll have to find out. Alright, so this is all filling up. We are still missing green, purple, and metallurgic in terms of things which have not made their way over here yet. So green science, it says we have 100 of them on the way. And blue science is going. Purple science has 76 of it on the way. So currently our science per minute is way down. That should obviously recover once we get all this stuff going. Oh, and agri-science is also missing. Alright, so agri-science, what is your issue? You are being delivered. We have 1,000 of those on the way over here. And have they done anything at all yet? No, they have. Not a single one has made it. Okay, that's a bit annoying, but I wonder if they're, like, taking so long on the drone ports that they're spoiling. That could be an issue. Okay, but probably not. It's probably fine, and it's just quite the delay. And the other types of science are just very painfully slow, so that's going to take them a while, but I think we just saw some green science. Yeah, so there's some green science in here now, as opposed to the literal 0 that there was a second ago. Okay, so I'm looking at this, and I guess, yeah, that makes sense, because of how the splitting works. Most of it goes to the first one, and then it divides off by half until we get to the second half, which is actually the first split. So we have sort of two big spikes of where all the science is getting to. So that should be fine. And this should start making science again. I kind of don't fully understand why it isn't. Like, after all this time, the types of science which we were missing should be here, right? Like we still have 1,000 green science registered as on the way. There is a little bit there. I hope the belt ride isn't too long for the green science. Okay, spoil time of an hour. It's probably fine. These guys are looking more than half, so this is certainly not a 30-minute belt ride. That's definitely not the case. So, if that's showing up, then we are just wondering where the green and purple is. Which, both of those are way more mysterious, because, like, they should be doing a lot better than they are, to say the least. So all of this stuff, we've got that box doing its thing. This has plenty of white science, plenty of other types of science. So purple science is here. It's stacked up to 200, and it has 200 of those queued. Are they just like the last dibs on the roboports or something? So that, like, all the other types are getting priority over it? All our logistics bots are all busy? Yeah, we're currently in a position where we kind of just need more logistic bots. Like, we need way more logistics bots, potentially. Just because of how we're doing this temporarily. Now, once we get the white science in particular, let's get that set up onto a train network. So, let's see here. we need to move the space platform landing pad, right? So we need to take this and put it somewhere else. Which is a massive undertaking, because this is kind of the center of everything. But where it is currently is just like, we can't get a train station in there, much less like, how many train stations are we going to need? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Yeah, so we're going to need like a full half of our train input from this. It has to get loaded up from this, and it cannot do that in here. Now, it's currently in a position where it's very close to all the production. It's like very centralized, right? So the drones have about an even trip going to anywhere, especially in here. But if we just move it down, like, we don't even need to move it that far, right? So if we put it... Oh, the spacing is tough because of how many train stops we need, right? We need 6, which is half as big as this is. That's going to be the size, which means we need a lot of space. And I guess we also need it to be like connected in to the train network. So like if we put it up here, then in order for the trains to connect up, they would need to go like all the way around all of that, which would be quite a long trip, which would be a bit of an issue. Now, if we just put it in where these solar panel segments are, that might be a useful thing. So if we just put it like, if we just dismantle some of these solar panels, maybe like these ones over here or something, then we put it in, it gets its train station down there, which just pipes it into there, and then that comes down through this area, and it's gonna be super cramped because this area is all busy. And the other alternative is we could just say forget the trains and just like unload it all down here, which would be great for our science production. It would be significantly less great for everything else, but like then we wouldn't even need these train stations. We could just load it from the space platforms directly into boxes and then into the science platform area. So that is certainly a thing that we can do. Oh, we did get a spike of science, so that's cool. It's not completely dead, it's just mostly dead. So, yeah, honestly, let's just do that. That seems easier. This is the main bulk of where all of our space platform stuff is going to be headed to anyways. Like, the other things which we're pulling down are relatively small in comparison. Okay, so let's give this group a name. This is Novice Requests. So, we have that. So just in case we lose this somehow, which I don't know how we would, that exists now. So now we copy-paste this. We put it all the way down here. And you just go in like that somehow. And, okay. The awful thing is that in order for this to fully work, we are going to need to dismantle the current setup and rebuild it elsewhere. So like there's going to be a period, and not a short period, where we have absolute 0 in terms of cargo landing pad, which considering this is like basically constantly running, is going to be quite the disruption. Also we need a bunch of cargo bays, so let's just sort of get down here and spam those around. Actually, it's going to be easier to just put them in a buffer chest and then build all of this stuff as fast as possible. So we have a buffer chest here, which has a cargo landing pad and like 30 cargo bays, let's say. And that's within a Roboport's close range, so it should be fine. And once those get delivered up, then that should be good to go. This Spidertron, by the way, still has not cleared out all of its trash slots. It's got 15 coal left. It's insane how long that takes. Alright, so the science just continues to go. The agri-science hasn't started... Okay, this belt just objectively doesn't work. Most of these are actually like that. Not sure how that happened, but let's fix it real quick. Got a random underground belt just in the way. So let's connect all these guys across so that that is no longer an issue, and the agri-science is actually capable of doing literally anything. Okay, so that should be everything that we need it to. And those should get built pretty quickly from the buffer chests that we already have. Now, speaking of things not getting built pretty quickly, this area down here is taking forever. Cargo landing pad. Higher quality gives radar coverage distance, which nobody cares about. Higher quality cargo bay gives better inventory size, but we have plenty of space, so we can just brute force that with more cargo bays. And the inventory size that we need shouldn't theoretically be that enormous. Also, like, some of this stuff is just kind of nonsense, right? Like, that doesn't need to exist. That's going to have to be rebuilt. We just need, like, these combinators down here, which are setting the requests. So that all goes in. Most of this stuff is starting to get built. Okay, so it looks like when we fixed that biter egg requester chest thing, we did wind up breaking our supply of biter eggs for the actual thing that we're doing for making more biter nests, which should be fine. Like, it's been basically all stream and we haven't used any productivity modules, so that should be, like, we should be pretty far ahead on productivity modules at this point. And hopefully we'll be far enough ahead on those to not cause issues. So this buffer chest is in. We have 24 cargo bays and 1 cargo landing pad getting delivered down here, and most of the combinator stuff is in as well. So what we need to do is connect green up to this arithmetic combinator from a drone port. So we just take this over to there, read contents, yes. So now this is just keeping track of all the things which we are currently short of. So that should be fine. Just need to wait for the things to get down to the buffer chest so that we can actually construct that. And I know this is going to cause all sorts of problems with all the things that we're relying on requester chests for up here. Like, the fact that all of our storage chests are up here is not exactly 100% ideal. Also, can we just get a couple of burners to just get rid of all this freaking wood that we have? Let's see here. Heating towers. Throw a couple of those in. And put a belt alongside it. And those all get inserters of some sort. And then, congratulations, you are gonna just be destroying probably like tens of thousands. How much wood do we even have? 70,000 wood is our current stockpile. So yeah, let's just deal with all of that. Get the stack inserters in, and that should just like slowly trickle that number down. We haven't set it to a huge amount, so it shouldn't be insanely quick, but it should just slowly get there. Okay, so this is set up. The cargo landing pads are still on their way, which really goes to show why, like, how much of a big deal moving this down here is going to be. And how much it has the potential to absolutely annihilate just like all this stuff up here, which is suddenly going to be way slow if it depends on space platform items. But we can fix that with buffer chests if we need to, theoretically. Alright, so some of the cargo bays are here, which means that the rest of the things should be like any moment now, right? Because this means that it's been long enough for at least some drones to make a full trip. Probably some legendary drones, which had to stop and charge less frequently and thus were able to go faster. That must be it, because we're not seeing anything else. But it shouldn't be that much longer, right? We also are back to the point where we have spare logistics drones, and that number should just keep going up as we craft more and more of them. So that should eventually power through to be high enough to not cause problems. And now more drones are showing up. So a good chunk of the cargo bays are here. Still waiting on the cargo landing pad. There it is. Alright, so we have cargo landing pad and 16 cargo bays. That's going to be plenty, I think, for getting this started. So, here we go. You get deconstructed. And we then go down here. And we build... Oh, we have to wait for the other one to finish being deconstructed first. Yikes. So that's just going to take a lot of time draining out all this random white science and everything. Which, it says it's marked for deconstruction. I don't see the white science getting taken out. I do not see the white science getting taken out. But one assumes that it is happening, right? Maybe we mark all those individually for deconstruction. Okay, yes, apparently that works. So there is nothing left in here. I'm going to set you to none. And scroll down, there's nothing there. Alright, so this is purely just doing nothing. Maybe we need to take out all of those as well. Alright, so this is now just a base cargo landing pad with nothing in it. And at some point, surely some drone is going to be taking this thing out, right? It would be real nice if it would go away. Like, what, did it designate a drone from the other side of the planet or something? There's got to be a cargo pad. Is it maybe this fast inserter? I'm like grasping at straws, like disconnecting everything possible from this thing. It's now not connected up to the circuit network at all. It is literally just sitting there doing nothing. And yet it is not going away. It would be real cool if it would leave. Because right now everything is completely broken. And we need a cargo landing pad in order to get literally anything done. And yet it won't let us build a new one until this one is gone. And it won't let this one go away because no drone is apparently willing to do it. I wonder if the only way is for me to go and do it manually? That would really suck. Okay, let's get this random fast platform, which seems to be fully functional. Okay, I must have gotten like halfway through building this and then given up or something, but let's just set this. Actually, we have a designated fast transport, right? I don't know what you're doing. You can go back to novice and stay. Let's just get fast transport up here instead. And is this platform going to die in the process? Probably not. It has some fusion fuel. It's not got a lot, but it has some. It's got everything else that it needs. It's got all the ammo and everything. Okay. Okay, and it's not necessary. This did eventually someone felt like getting around to it, which means now it's gone. So, cargo landing pad goes in. Just, we were planning on putting it right there. And you then connect up to that. And you are in set requests mode. Alright, so that is back up and running. Hopefully all that bioflux can get here before everything decides to break. So now we put in just like a giant row of cargo bays out there. We want it to take up as little space on the perimeter of the landing pad as possible, while still having a ton of extra space in here. Alright, so that's all set up, and now science is going to show up into this. And our next step is to set up the output belts. So we're just going to use legendary stack inserters on this, because the output side is pretty tight. I'm pretty sure I figured out that these were like 96 a minute each. So we need, if we have 4 of them, then that should give us a full belt's worth, hopefully. Okay, and then we have to get power poles in, and then we will copy paste that up. Have another 4, except that one disappeared. Alright, so now we need to set all of these to be filter only. So we have 2 types of science coming out here. And let's get that power grid across. Actually, let's get the power grid across like way down there, just in case. Alright, so this is now loading up with a whole lot of junk, which should be fine. Assuming that our drones are now going to be coming all the way down here to deal with that. Poor bioflux and probably calcite and probably green circuits. They're going to be having bad times, but whatever. So this here is... Actually, can we just like move that so that those power poles are purely in front of everything? So this turns half the belt. This turns one side of the landing pad into 2 outputs. That gives another 2. And then we need another 2. And this is really gonna be pushing it in terms of space platform output, even with legendary stack inserters. So we need to cut that, move it down there, and then connect it back up. So I believe you went into the arithmetic combinator, and then your output does just go like that, I think. Okay, and then that lets us copy paste this over to here, and I need to get the legendary stack inserters in that copy paste as well. And that should theoretically give us 6 belts of output to play with here. So now let's start setting these filters. So actually the first one we need to check is this one, because I need to know which side it's going to output on. Okay, that does the side that I want it to. Good. So we get that is going to be agri-science. And this one will be metallurgic science. This one will be EM science. This one will be cryoscience. This one is promethium science. And this one is white science. Okay, so we have all those. Some of them obviously not currently present. Most of them are currently present. But now we have all of them. So we just need to set them up to output onto some of these belts up here. So we need to start with the ones which already... Yeah, so actually all of these are already designated, so it's important that we line these up correctly. So the white science is going to go out this way a bit to leave room for the promethium science at some point. And then you need to just wrap around. Okay, we need this belt here to go away, I think. And then this white science belt goes all the way over here before merging up. Alright, so that is white science with an official source. So let's take all of these that have proper full-scale sources and just dismantle their requester chests. Alright, so white science has its full-scale source, and that is just waiting on that. Okay, so now that's all we need. So next up is agri-science, which is this one out here. So we need you to go out, and then up a bit, and then just over and into there. That should be all we need for that. So that's promethium science. This one here is cryoscience. So the third one from the left, which currently not present in our setup, but we can run that along anyways. Alright, so that should be cryoscience set up properly. Now we just need to do metallurgic science, electroscience, and promethium science. So promethium science is this one. And that one in there. So we will have that belt just go across there and then connect up, I guess. And that should be correct. Okay, then that's cryo, then it's electro, and then metal. So we take the electro science up there and just sort of across a bit. Oh boy, which one of these were we going to? It's this one here. Okay, so you go across that, then you merge up into there, and you're good. Okay, and then one past that. This belt didn't make it across properly for whatever reason. So then we have the metallurgic science, which would be just one further. And if you go into there, this should be the metallurgic science, right? Yes, it is. Okay, so that should be everything. So we can take out these requests, and these train stations are just going to be dead, I guess, which is fine, obviously. It's a bit of a wasted space, but it's all good. Okay, so that sends a big wave of metallurgic science through. The white science is fully capped out. Let's set that to be input priority right, just to clear this stuff out, so that, I don't know, maybe at some point we can even dismantle it. Now, our logistics drones are doing fine. This is chock full of calcite for some reason, which I guess is okay. And we've got plenty of white science, right? Yeah, plenty of white science. And that request doesn't need to be set that high because it's permanently present, although we might need to work on the request sizes for the other types of science, which aren't just sitting idly above novice. Okay, so now we have this. It has currently got everything except agri-science, and when that shows up, then we'll know. Okay, some of these guys have everything but production science. That's a little bit weird. But I believe that's everything, and that should be all set up. Let's add just... I mean, we've got plenty of these things. We might as well add even more of those on, just so that this never runs out of space at any point. We have plenty of calcite. That's not an issue. We weren't, like, exporting anything out onto belts or anything, right? It was just the white science which did that, and now that's gone. Everything else was taken out via drone port. And we have a massive wave of red circuits getting delivered down here. So I guess that is something. I don't know why we're doing that, but sure. How many? Yeah, just an enormous quantity of robots doing stuff. And ideally we wouldn't have all these red circuits in here, but it is draining them. And hopefully, eventually, that'll stop being a thing and we can just feed our red circuits only from these, mostly. And speaking of circuits and stuff, we have plenty of launch capacity for everything, so that's fine. And now the calcite is going to be the big issue, right? So I think the way we deal with calcite now is actually horrific. Like, we unload it from the space platform down there, then we bring it like all the way up here somewhere, and then put it onto a train. I don't know where that is. Let's actually just track down. Where is the calcite source? Neither of the trains are waiting at calcite source. They're both waiting at the destination, which does not help me figure it out. Oh, I think I'd like repurposed one of these guys up here. Yeah, I must have. Okay, well that is insanely inefficient. So instead of all that, we can just set up the calcite to come out of this as well. Although we can't really easily do a full belt with this setup that we currently have. We can just set up sort of semi-manually, I guess. Like, we can still do drone ports filling the calcite onto a train track. It's just that the train filling that in is going to be down here somewhere, which shouldn't cause any serious issues. Alright, so now science is like weirdly spiky, which I don't love, but it is way faster, like at the maximum spikes. I can actually just check the science. Let's see here. Production statistics. Does this not show science because it's showing up there? I want to see, like, the production statistics for science for a long time ago. Items, fluids, buildings, pollution, kills. No, none of this stuff is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for like an expanded version of that, but don't know where to find it. That's fine. We don't really need to worry about staring at that too much. Just know that we can have massive spikes of science output when we need to, and otherwise we're kind of scraping along. And our main shortages are purple science and agri-science, it looks like. Even green science has a tiny bit of a backlog. So let's start working through those new types of science that we need, right? So we've got all this stuff done. The military science is actually just fully capped out. Red science, it's got to be pretty close, right? So you are slowly filling up. Yeah, so red science and yellow science are getting there. And then white science is capped. And then the other space sciences are absolutely not. Okay, so yeah, this should be all that we need now to have this set up. So let's move on to producing the next type of science, which we've been looking at this, and it's been production science and agri-science largely as the shortages. So let's just try to get everything on Novice sorted out, so then we can move on to get everything off of Novice afterwards. So, production science. Rails, electric furnaces, productivity modules. This is 3 things that can't be productivity moduled for increased efficiency, so it's probably gonna majorly suck. But let's get it started. So we just need a spot, which presumably is going to be somewhere in this vicinity, because that's where all the stuff we're doing is. Let's build it more over this way, because we really need to like work on the train routing at some point, because like this intersection is a massive barrier to a lot of things. Like, look, we have got 3 trains up here waiting behind that, which is pretty bad. And so ideally, right, we don't have more things going through that intersection. We just have them coming down here, connecting in somewhere in this blob, and then going through. Of course, that relies on them taking copper and coal, and I guess there's a crude oil field there that we're just built over, which is fine. And then the stone is like kind of shortcut, but not really, because if it has to go to anywhere other than up there, we need it to go through this intersection. So yeah, we're gonna need to deal with all of that, but in the short term, let's just not worry about it and start working on production science somewhere over here, and then we can work out how exactly the trains need to connect up afterwards. So production science is rail, electric furnace, productivity modules. So rails are stones, steel plates, iron sticks. So that is going to be stone, obviously, and then iron and calcite. Steel furnaces are, or it was electric furnaces, right, that we were looking for, not some other types. Yes, electric furnaces are steel plates, advanced circuits, stone bricks. So that's more iron calcite, more stone, and then red circuits adds copper and plastic onto the list. And then productivity modules are just red and green circuits for productivity module ones. Alright, so we need stone, iron, copper, calcite, plastic, or I guess crude oil if we want to be building it directly from that, which we probably do. Okay, that is a little bit of stuff. So, how many items is that? That is, stone is 1, iron is 2, copper is 3, calcite is 4, oil is 5, so we need 5 train stops. So let's just copy paste this, which is a perfectly good train stop blueprint. We have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we go out to like there, and we're gonna catch some assorted junk from other things, but it should be fine. And we might also need to rework the belt output if these are going to require like 10,000 stone, but hopefully they won't. And I also didn't copy paste the full thing. I want to get everything. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out to here. And we just need to get all the way down to the output train line. Okay, so if we just plop this in like here somewhere, it'll be better if we rotate it around so the input and output can be towards the right where other train stuff is. And we are kind of moving towards the frontier with this, so it might not be fully safe, but we'll see what happens with that. Now let's just pop it down like here probably. That should be fine. And now our construction drones go burr. And that will just get built up. And we might as well get the Spidertron over there, because that's where we're going to be working for a little bit. So hopefully this outpost can keep us safe in this area. How's the pollution look? Okay. Currently pollution is very well covered on this side of things. Like, this outpost is real close to the edge, so that shouldn't be an issue. So hopefully that just stays being fine. Now the Spidertron is in the vicinity. Let's make sure that these power poles connect up, so that we can get all of this stuff just slowly designated. Like this Roboport will unlock the ability to designate that one, and so on. And our closest buffer chest is starting to fall a bit behind. Actually, I think we have a buffer chest in here somewhere. Like, I just wonder it was, yeah, right here. Although, yes, so this is just a full buffer chest with all the stuff that we might want, including 100 productivity modules, which we're not going to be able to make great use of until we get deeper down, because the first row things for this are all can't take productivity modules. Have I mentioned that that's awful? Like, that is going to make this horrendously resource inefficient. But it's fine. Also, we are apparently occasionally getting through making those new biter nests. Like, this was 36 a while ago, now it's down to 34. I'm not sure how it's possible for us to be producing them this slowly. Like, I would have expected that either it was completely malfunctioning and not producing anything at all, or would have been producing a lot faster than like once every 30 minutes or whatever it's doing. But it's fine. Okay, so this is slowly getting put together. Just bit by bit. It doesn't say we're missing anything other than those, so we apparently have the stack inserters at least for now. And once this power pole gets built, that's going to connect all these guys up, and then we should be in pretty good shape. So that goes through. Ideally, the power poles would be a bit closer. Like, that buffer chest is really close, so it shouldn't be taking this long. But apparently it is. Okay, so now all of these guys... I could have sworn I saw this get connected up and built, but it has not. Just need that built ASAP. Okay, something got connected. This Roboport down there did. So that's another giant wave of stuff to get done. And now that power pole is in, which gets this whole region, like both of these, are now up and running. So now all that is getting assigned, and that should be it. Like, all the drone ports have been assigned. The only thing we're missing is this edge over here, which should happen relatively soon, hopefully. Okay, now we are missing underground belts and stack inserters, which should show up pretty soon, I think. We have a fast transport belt, or we have a fast space platform, right? You here. You carry turbo underground belts and everything. So yeah, you should be fine. We shouldn't have any issues with that. So let's just leave it be for now. That'll eventually show up and deliver everything. Same thing with the stack inserters. Eventually Gleba support will make its way back over, and then we'll be all good from there. And okay, it looks like a couple more of those biter spawners have been constructed. And now this last chunk up here got a roboport close enough somehow. Not sure what roboport did that, but okay, so these have been built, and now this one is getting powered. So yeah, this is basically done. Okay, so we have this in, and then we're just gonna go out this way to do the actual construction, because we have these belts here, which should be quite convenient for getting everything set up. And we can actually dismantle like a lot of this junk, which is not needed for what we're doing, because this is mostly just belts from like other setups that we didn't want, from what we copy pasted from. So we just dismantle all of those, and now we're left with the belts which are actually useful. So we have 5 belts here pointing in towards this way. We're probably going to need more than 1 belt of each input if I had to guess, but at least it's a start. Okay, so we can just leave these as is for now. We will set up what exactly they're doing in a minute. Oh, we actually need one more. We need one more for the actual output, which, I mean, we have this like half copied set up over there. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we have this one over here, which doesn't have the rail or anything. So if we just like add the rail onto that, and then we're gonna have to like wrap it around and everything and rotate it so that it's facing the right way, but it should be manageable. So let's just get that in, and then your train track needs to go down this way and overwrite whatever you need to get there, which does involve rebuilding a power line. So that can go back in to get all of this stuff reconstructed. And then we need that belt to continue along that way so that you actually, we can just copy paste like this entire narrow region in. So that all gets copy pasted. Then I believe it lines up like that. And then we just need to finish you off like that. And then we can do the same thing up here, where we just copy like all of that and paste. And then we need to finish the last little bit, which just goes up like that. Alright, so that should be one last setup done. We are missing 165 stack inserters, which should show up eventually, unless something's gone horribly wrong. Alright, so now we have these guys need to connect up to the train network, and then that will be all good as far as that is concerned. So for the train network connection, we have a bit of a problem, which is that this intersection is incredibly goofy. Now, if we just replace that intersection with like a regular old four-way intersection, then we would have an extra output onto it, which we could use to do stuff. So let's dismantle the inputs to this three-way intersection. That guy just barely made it through in time. And then that one gets dismantled. And of course a train is stopped on it, which is going to cause problems. So we need these trains to like get through, so that hopefully... Okay, yeah, no, at that exact moment it was available. Alright, so now we just need to dismantle the outputs, now that that's all good, and then tear out everything in between. So just all the tracks in this region go away. I'm going to try to avoid, like, the drone ports, but we're going to fail to avoid the drone ports because we got, like, a bunch of power poles in the crossfire, which probably means that none of this stuff is powered anymore. Yeah, let's just run a connection up to there randomly, just so that this doesn't have to get its power through this exact region. Then we can take even some more of those power poles out. And now we can go into our blueprints and get a four-way junction. And the four-way junction can just go in here. And I don't know, just pop it in. However, who cares? We're going to have to align this stuff to work properly into it no matter what we do. So that train is going to need to move back a little bit so that it can aim itself in better. And okay, I'm pretty sure that should be fine. I'm pretty sure there's no weird, like, oh, these guys are secretly looking the other way types of things going on. So we can do the same thing where these trains get cut back a little bit. And then connect it up. And connect it up. Okay, now we need to pick this train, drive you backwards. Alright. You're not going to run into anything back there, are you? No, you're alone in this area. Alright, so you drive backwards. Now we take this track back. And you go over there and then up into there. So that is a little bit close in terms of how that needs to work out, but it does work out. So now we take this train, you go over there, and then into there. And once that all gets built, this intersection should be functional again, except now we have, first of all, it's a lot neater to look at, and we have this output over here, which we can attach up to these guys. Hopefully that goes well and it's not also designed backwards. So you can get set to automatic mode, and off you go. These trains have now been able to find their paths again. So that is all good. Everything there looks normal. Okay, I think I saw a biter nest taking damage somewhere. Yeah, we're having bioflux issues. Oh boy. Okay, well that is a fun problem, which we have 4,700 bioflux on the way to fix, hopefully. We might need to get a gleba fast or something to... Okay, that's actually what you... I don't know what you were doing out at Aquilo. You are now gleba fast. So you are going to go between Novice and Gleba, and you're going to wait 45 seconds of inactivity at both. And automatic mode. Are you capable of moving? You should be, yeah, you should be capable of moving. Oh, I see, you just are waiting at novice still. Alright, now you can start immediately moving on to Gleba. And then let's get you to do 5,000 bioflux. And because you're going to be that much faster, you might as well also be carrying the biofuel. Okay, so hopefully the real Gleba support can make it here to just try to hold on here. But it's not going great. I mean, we're going to be using all of our bioflux. Yeah, we're almost out of capture bot rockets because that obviously also takes bioflux, which we're out of. So hopefully that gets dealt with. Our production of productivity modules is absolutely not doing well in the short term until that gets fixed. Okay, Gleba support is here. And it's got its bioflux, which I'm not seeing it dropping off. That's hopefully just because I'm not seeing it and not because it isn't doing it. Okay, it says... Okay, so we have bioflux here now. And we should have... some drones coming down here to do stuff with them. But it doesn't look like we do. That's concerning. Okay, let's get... Maybe we need to do the old... legendary... Not regular, just legendary bulk inserters on here. And you are going to be filtered to... bioflux. Actually, we can just have you be a legendary stack inserter that just does pure bioflux, probably. Just for extra speed, and then we might have to do the same thing with the calcite. I don't know what setting I had that this was working at the previous area, but it isn't doing anything here. Alright, so that should get us built. I do not see... Are we not within Roboport range over here? Is that the issue this entire time? Yes, that was the issue. Okay. That is infuriating. That is indeed infuriating, but it's an easy fix. I can't believe it just doesn't tell you. Like, it's just like, nah, no, why would I ever say that? Just incredibly important information that is just not saying, but it's fine. We figured it out, and we got that set up. And yeah, so now that is all set up. You should now be delivering all sorts of nonsense, including, hopefully, a bunch of bioflux. And the logistics drones are going to be very busy for quite some time now. But it actually looks like they are mostly keeping up. So we've got this box, which is going to be filled with calcite. This box, which is going to have some amount of bioflux in it. We have more bioflux on the way. And it just needs to get up here, which we now do have delivery requests for all of those. I can't believe that that entire problem with all of those biter nests popping is just because I was like a millimeter too far to the left. That's infuriating. But it's fine. So we have it fixed now. And all this stuff is now set up to work properly. And we also have a faster setup for Gleba as well, just in case that was ever needed. a turret just ran out of ammunition. That's going to be the rocket launcher turrets, obviously. And they are going to be taking a whole bunch of the bioflux just to reclaim these. So we have bioflux moving, so some of these which are in the red are no longer going to be dying. Get up to those. Yes, okay, so these ones were like seconds away from popping. We managed to save them. I don't know how much more we're going to be able to do there, but hopefully it's a lot. Alright, anyways, that is that. So, pretty confident that things are now fully just back under control. We've got our stack inserters, we've got what looks like science going out, and it's very wobbly in terms of its throughput at the moment. And we're probably just going to make that worse as we make the limiting factor more and more frequently space science, but that's fine. So, let's just... I really don't want to spend too much time looking away from this in case something more catastrophic happens. How much bioflux do we have here? We have 1,700 or 1,900. And... okay, is this the one which we set up? Yeah. We need to rename this to Gleba Fast. Oh, you need to enter when you finish that. I forgot. Alright. So that is in. Now it's going fast, carrying a whole lot of bioflux. So it should be back any second now with bioflux and a little bit of agri-science as well. And that's going to be just a much faster trip, which should be quite nice. Okay, so this is looking better. It's not looking great, but there is some bioflux available and more on the way. And there's way more coming through in space now. So now that we have Gleba Fast set up, that should never be... bioflux should never realistically be a shortage again, unless we just do things wrong. And how do these belts have things on them? Oh, we have these requester chests up here. Yeah, we need to kill those. We do not want random science on these belts. So all that goes away. And that stuff, everything in these can get thrown away as well. Okay, so that should be all that. Now we just need to go down here and get this science cleared out. Okay, we have 4 guys complaining about logistics network storage space because... okay, so this drone port, which I had meant to repower, but never did, is the only thing connecting these guys down here up to the drone network. So let's reconnect them. And we just need this stuff to go along. And then that should all be in. Okay, back over to here. We need to just clear out these belts of all the wrong science that wound up on them. It's so funny that that happened. Okay, so we will expand these belts forwards again. Just so that we can get all the science in here into one segment. Okay, so this roboport is charging back up again, and the connection has been redesigned. So that is all good once more. Now, actually what I want to do here is I want to put in another 4-way junction, just sort of like in this area, so that we have more room for train connections, like, because now the next train connection can go off of this output, for example. So this is the input side. So trains are running from right to left here, which means, okay, this is just still backwards. So let's get this track goes forwards a bit and then loops down and then okay, it has to start turning earlier than that, of course. Then goes into there. And then this train is going to have to pretty awkwardly, like, I don't know how this is going to work. Actually, we need you to go, like, up there and across. Can you get from here to there is the question. Yes, pretty easily. So you just do that. And then you just go across. And then we just grab this and connect it up to here. Okay. So that should be that connected. Oh, except we actually don't want to... Oh, wait, no. So it's not connected up to the actual train network. It's just connected up to this T intersection. We don't want these to be connected up until we give them their labels. So we will do that now. This is a copper destination. This one will be an iron destination. This one will be a calcite destination. This one will be a stone destination. Stone, stone, stone is down there. And shoot, what else was there? Oh, there was also crude oil. So you will be a crude oil destination. And then you will be not purple science destination, but purple science source. Okay. That is right. That's the type of science we're doing here, right? Yes. All right. So then, obviously all the trains trying to get here are now confused. But now we just need to take this track, bring it down this way, and try to give some room for the other one just so that it doesn't have to do an incredibly sharp turn. So now this goes down here and into there. Okay. So with that connection made, now we just need to do the signals, which, let's get the signals in this area first. So we have, I don't know, just sort of every so often, just slam a signal in and then it'll be fine. Does not need to be rocket science for this portion of the game. Just get it going good enough and then it'll be okay. Okay, so then this is the input side, so we just need, again, just pop a couple of signals into there so that the trains can move forwards a little bit. And then we're going to need a couple of signals in this stretch, which can just go sort of however. And we should be getting trains delivering stuff here now, which is perfectly good. Okay, I don't know if we want them this close to this intersection. I think we might want that to be a little bit more well optimized. So we go out to that point, which I think was like there. Yeah, that's plenty. Okay, and then past here, it's whatever. We'll move you back a little bit just so that hopefully this fits better. Even one more, I think. And then past that, again, not super concerned anymore. It should be fine. Okay, so you are all set up. How is this stuff going? It's mostly getting under control, right? So we just have these guys over here are waiting on... Do they even have a turret? I think this area in here is kind of a turret dead zone. Okay, yeah, let's grab you and just pop you in there. So that should recover that segment. Then that segment is fine. This segment is mostly fine. It's just waiting on its turret to get finished up. And this segment looks fine. And so, yeah, we should be in the clear now. I don't see any serious issues with that. Oh, I figured out how. So when this somehow gets more loaded than it needs to, it deposits the extra into this passive provider chest, which then carries it out. That's really funny. Okay. So we do still have a couple of guys in here which need help, but the bioflux supply is going strong, so it should work out eventually. And hopefully we can just continue with that until we're all done. Alright, so that's all set up. These guys have their resources, although I still need to drain the science off of these belts. And that one gets its science drained. That one gets its science drained. Okay, so now let's just get these to all be brought up nice and neat to the same region. And this last one is going the other way. So let's just correct that. And I sure do hope I'm not missing anything here. We're probably going to have to redo this again once we actually have stuff. Oh, this is the oil. Oh, yeah, so this is the oil, so it doesn't actually get a belt at all. It gets a pipe. So this one is going to have to be set up differently, but that's fine. We are at a good stopping point for now. So we need to set the oil up to have pipes instead of belts. Then we need to set this up to do its outputting thing, which I don't even know if it will have enough space for, but we'll see what happens. And then other than that, we should be basically set up and ready to start putting buildings in here. So if you're interested in any of that, I will be back to Factorio again on Wednesday as usual. I will be doing Dyson Sphere program tomorrow, and we're just going to keep alternating between those two. So I stream every weekday from 2 to 5 Eastern Time, so if you're interested in any of this stuff, then make sure to stop by, give me a watch, give me a follow so you know when I'm live. And yeah, that's about it. Thanks for hanging out, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.